dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.
What's up? It's your boy, Dr. HD, also known as Humble Dad. Got a great show for you this evening. Why? Because I said so. We're going to be talking about how to make a list. Why is a list important? And what should we put on that particular list? And we got some heavy hitters in the building this evening. And we're going to start with the first question of the day, which is, what is a good get to know you question? So we're going to be basically making our own list today. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to start with the man himself that already got an answer. He talked to us about it backstage. Prototype.
What's good, baby?
What's going on, homie?
Man,
is that going to be your question or you got a different
one? What's your body count? I mean, you can ask it, but
is that a good get to know you question, though?
I think so. It tells me a lot about a person, you know, if they're willing to answer it, you know what I mean? But I don't know, a real get to know you question. I'm not saying that's a real one too, but another get to know you question is who are you and your family? How do your family see you? You know what I'm saying? It kind of gives you like some details on your goals and who you're supposed to be, like who holds you accountable. So I think that's a good question. Who are you and your family?
Who are you and your family? That's solid, man. That's what's up. Appreciate you being here as always. All right. And we're going to welcome to the stage Shorty Doo-Wop, a.k.a. Tamia. What's up? You on mute.
Sorry, I'm in a good mood today because we're talking about lists and I like lists.
So you got it?
Can I only give one question?
It's on you.
I have two good ones. Okay. My first one is, are you always early or are you always late? And then my next one is, what are you afraid of? Those are my two good questions to get to know somebody.
Any particular reason?
Well, if somebody's always, you can tell a person, like if they're like, oh, I'm always late, that tells you about a person, their time management, you know, what they prioritize. Like if maybe they're like, oh yeah, I'm always on time to work, but other things I'm kind of, you know, late. That gives you kind of a character spiel. And I'm a very punctual gal.
They're lying on them questions.
And then, I mean, I would ask anybody this, a friend, you know, a random person. And then what are you afraid of? A kind of, you know, you might get somebody that's like, I'm not afraid of anything, you know, or you might get somebody that's like spiders, or you might get someone that's like super deep and you're like, I'm afraid of failing or whatever. And that can all lead to, you know, a deeper aspect of somebody.
That's what's up. Appreciate it. Hey, and we're going to welcome to the stage Mr. Lost in Translation.
Good evening, HD. How are you today, sir?
I'm solid, man. How about yourself?
I am well. Thank you for asking.
That's what's up. What you got on the question?
My question is, say, for instance, we get married and we're moving out of the country and you can only take 3 things with you. What 3 things are you taking? Those three things tell me exactly what's important to that person. You know what I mean? And then I'll ask them why. Those are the questions that I would ask, because that reveals to me what's important to them. If they say they're bringing a family member, then family is important to them. If they say they're taking their Bible with them, that means religion is, you know, important to them. You know what I mean? If they start talking about Gucci bags and all this other stuff, then I might have to leave them back here in America. So that lets me know everything I need to know right then and there with those 3 questions, man.
That's a bit. I appreciate you, homie.
Right.
All right. Welcome to the stage, Miss Elena. How you doing? You on mute?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. What you got on the question?
Okay, so my question would be, how is your relationship with your parents? So I came from a two-parent household, parents married. So that's for one gonna let me know if you came from a two-parent household, and then it's gonna let me know how you feel about your mother, which is gonna determine how you treat me. So yes, yes. So that's my question.
Okay. We'll get back to it, prototype. Don't go off on it just yet, okay? Give us some time, okay? All right, we're gonna welcome to the stage my homie, my friend, Mr. Uncle Rick. What it is.
Everything is everything. Y'all know who it is.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is.
Got to start the traditions back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What would I do? You believe in God?
Off top.
Off that. Do you believe in God? And I ain't talking about the fake belief that, every year I got to go every Sundays to look good around my girlfriends and the aunties. Do you believe in the Most High? Because then that let me know what type of rules we going by.
That's solid. That's what's up. So we putting together a pretty good list. I wonder is anybody taking notes? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna listen. I don't know who he in charge of, but he definitely look like he in charge of somebody tonight. Welcome to the stage. Hey, listen, were you what was it, Tommy on Martin? You know what I'm saying? When they did the reenactment of New Jack City. Is that what we doing tonight, Sir Hill?
I can neither confirm nor deny that I was watching Martin before this. Well, HD, appreciate you letting me be here tonight. Good to see everybody, Brother Ricky, Elena, Lost in Translation, Prototype, Tamil. What's up, chap? So the question that I ask anybody that I want to get to know is an open-ended question, and it goes like this. How do you spend your time? I found out that when I ask people this question and I leave it up to them to fill in the blanks about what they do with their time on a given day in a given situation, they tell me exactly who they are and they show me exactly what their priorities are. So the question that I lead with is, what do you do? How do you use your time?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. That's a really good question. I definitely I need to put that on the list for myself for sure. All right, and welcome to the stage, Miss Ash.
Hello. What's up? My question would be, where you place value at? Like, what do you value most? Like, what is the order? Are you prioritizing family, goals? What are you doing? Because to me, when you place value on certain things, it lets me know, is you goal oriented? Is your family come first? What you doing? So my big question is, where you place your value at?
Where you place your value at? Okay, so is there anybody wanted to respond to a question before we get into these topics? I know Prototype, he laughed about one of these questions. Was that on you, Prototype? You said that go ahead.
Oh yeah, the relationship about your mom.
Yes, sir.
Is a good question. It's not, man. Some people don't like their moms, and that doesn't mean that they're going to treat their moms, their wife, or their spouse any differently. Like they might, like if they had those bad parents. Like I know where you from. Crackheaded parents. Like you know what I'm saying. So just based off of that, like if I treat my crackheaded mom a certain way, that doesn't mean I'm gonna treat my spouse the same way I treat my mother, who's probably abused me, let me down, probably let me get molested. Something, moms are traumatizing, or parents have been traumatizing to their children. So you can't necessarily take in the fact that however that person treats their parent, they're going to treat you on the same level.
I would like to say it's more a mentality of how you see females in your life. Your mother is your first example, or it could be your grandmother. The woman that raised you is your first example of what a woman is supposed to be. So she sets your standards and expectations for the women in your life.
That's incorrect.
So if you, like you said, if your mother's a crackhead, she let you down, you might, unless you get some sort of therapy, you're going to be struggling with the fact that, okay, women let men down, unless you get therapy or you're a healed person. So that's why I feel like that is very important to me.
Okay. What you got on it, Rick?
I just think her thesis is incorrect, because once you become a man and an adult, you learn to realize what's real and what's fake, right? So if your mother was toxic, you realize that she is toxic. That don't mean you're going to hold every woman to the same standard that she set, right? More than likely, you're gonna put women on a higher pedestal than you do your own mother. You see what I mean? So again, this is the difference between men and women. We handle trauma differently. It's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, if it's a grown man and he didn't went through something, he used those lessons to better himself, not hold himself back, especially from the woman that he wanted in his life. But that's just my perspective.
Right, that's what I'm saying. See, that you're speaking about a healed male, but a lot of men, they're not healed. A lot of people are not healed in this world today. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. Some men heal, some people heal, could be male, female, women also have issues with their fathers, but a lot of people are not living their lives in a healed space. But as you mentioned, you gave an example of a male who is healed.
So even if
hold on, let her finish. Let her finish.
If you're speaking to a healed male,
hold on, Prototype. You gotta let her finish.
Were you finished?
No.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
If you're speaking to a healed male and you ask them how you feel about your mom, and they'd be like, I don't talk to my mom. How would you receive that? You would
That's
be
gonna
like,
be a no for me. That's gonna be a no for me.
Exactly.
For whatever reason, if the fact that you're not healed enough to even speak on that means you're not healed to me. So I'm not saying that person's bad or wrong, but for me in my life and what I want, that does not work for me. That's not how I communicate. I want somebody on the same playing field as me. So like I said, it would be nothing against that person. That's just not what I want in my life.
That's where your theory is flawed.
Go ahead, Tamia.
I just wanted to ask if Elena, not saying you're wrong, because you have like what your preferences and how you would, like the dynamic you want for your family. If you want a person that is in contact with their mother, then that is what is ideal for you. Would you ask the context? Like say like they came out like Prototype said, and it's like, I don't speak to my mom. Would that just be like a done deal without context? Like what if there was something does it matter what the context of it is? So what that mother may have done to cut off that bridge, or is it more so like a principle thing of like, you need to resolve it and your parents, you need to, like, no matter what it is for you, you should reconcile with your parents? I'm just curious.
I mean, if they were able to give me an answer, because a lot of times, some people are working towards building a relationship with their mother. That I still would be wary about. I would just, handle that situation and holler at me later. But then there's some times where they're like, my mom's a B word. And this is from personal experience. This one right here, my mom's a B. I don't like her. She's a whore. Like I've experienced that before. And those type of guys, I'm just like, you know what?
That's different.
Not for me.
That's
not
different.
for me.
That's different.
How is it? But what if it's true?
Well, I just can't do it because I feel like that's not what I want in my life. I see my family and my mother and my father a certain way, and I want somebody who has the same thought process as me. So I don't live that life. I don't have that experience. I want somebody with a similar experience to me. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that person.
Yeah,
that's just my personal preference.
So like, despite maybe the mother living a life of sleeping with a lot of men or having a poor character, it's about how that man expresses that to you. So not saying she's a B word or she's, calling her out her name, but simply saying like, I just don't like how her character is. I don't like how he words it.
Right. Because I mean, there's men, right. Because there'll be a man that can say, okay, my mother lives a lifestyle that I don't approve of, but I still love her. Versus she's a whore. I don't want to talk to her. All like that.
But what if he's lying about loving her? Because some people like always don't have love. Like, for example, like there are people with parents and they don't love their parents because their parents didn't love them. They aren't, like granted, I believe in God. I believe God's word, and we are to respect and honor our parents, right? But respect and honor is different than love. So it's like there may be a man that's like, I did not feel loved by my mother. And to be very honest, there's no maternal, because that's a maternal thing, like a mother gives, we're all humans, right? So there can be a mother that literally neglected. I'm not trying to go back and forth with you, but this is a good thing. Like that's a good topic. I'm sorry. I don't want to
because she feels the way she feels, she's already setting up a bad communication style between whoever you're dating. Because you're already saying that I cannot be truthful about my feelings and my emotions with you because you're going to judge me for it. So you're already setting yourself up to date in a lie, because if they catch that about you, that you're going to be judgmental about that, then they're not going to be open with you, and they're just going to be lying to you the whole relationship.
But I wouldn't date a person who
you wouldn't even know.
That's the difference.
They're going to get you to the point where they get what they want from you, and then it'll be your job to necessarily keep it or let it go.
But she's saying that's going to be one of the very first
questions.
Yeah, but they're going to lie like that. That how she comes off will like somebody that can read people can judge whether she's going to be judgmental
Based on how she asked the question.
Based on how she asked the question, right? So I was like, she's probably going to be judgmental about XYZ. She's probably not going to like me if I tell her I don't rock with my mom. So I'm going to lie. And I'm going to keep that lie going until I get what I want. And then after I get what I want, she already told me she's not a safe space. She's judgmental. I can't be open. I can't ever say, babe, I'm down on my bread, or I lost my job, or my mom is this, or whatever. So I'm going to lie to her until I get what I want. And then, like I said, after the fact, after I'm done, it'll be her job to whether keep me or let me go. You understand? But I already won at that point.
I see. Sir Hale, did you want to say something before we move on?
Yeah.
We'll go Sir Hale if he wants to say something, and Elena, you can follow up, and then we can close it out.
Yeah, so Elena, first of all, we're not ganging up on you, just a friendly conversation. Just want you to know that. So, but I do find it fascinating that only when it comes to issues with men are we okay with blaming the victim. If a man says, I've had a terrible mother that has emotionally wounded me, who has hurt me in ways and broke my heart, it's still on the son to repair the relationship with the parent, even though the responsibility and the reason why that son even exists is because of mother. And in this, I didn't hear how does he treat his father? What is his relationship with his father? I didn't even hear how his mother treats him. It goes back to when it comes to men, the reason why men shut down and a lot of men avoid relationships is because oftentimes women want men to give them unrestricted, unquestionable, unrestrained commitment, regardless to the damage that they cause them. And so when I hear that, women want to hear how he treats his mother without it also being asked, how did his mother treat him? It makes me believe that women want unconditional compassion and love from him without even knowing whether or not she deserves that, and without any conversation about him being reciprocated back to him. And so only when it comes to the issues of men do we blame men, and we see that we think that that's okay. That's my thought when I heard my sister Elena speaking on that.
Elena, it's on you. That. But can we backtrack? I said, how was your relationship with your parents? And then we got on mothers. My initial question was with your parents. I wasn't just saying mother or father. I was saying both parents. But and to go back to prototype, I mean, if I'm talking to this person and if you're saying they're picking up on that, I dig deep. Hey, you got any pictures? What's the last thing you and your mom did? So it's going to come out eventually. If I keep asking questions about someone they don't like or care for, they're either going to catch an attitude or they're not even having anything to back that up. So I'm aware that, what I'm saying, what guys do and how I have my father's in my life. My father has taught me everything he can about men and how men take advantage or will try to use me. And I go to my father for everything. If I have any questions about a man, hey, daddy, this is the situation. This is what happens. So, but I appreciate you, Sir Hal. Like, I get what you're saying and where you're coming from. I definitely agree and with you on that.
If she got a dad in her life, this right here is easy. All right. Lost in translation. What you got?
Thank you, sir. Remember last week we talked about what I was wrong about? I was wrong about women being made of sugar and spice and everything nice. Remember that? My thing is this. Sometimes we operate off inherent biases that we're not aware of. We automatically assume that all mothers are good and most of their dads are bad. So when we calculate that and when we add that into the calculus of how we make our decisions, then it kind of skews the outcome of how we see things. You see what I'm saying? It's like our own rose-colored glasses. Like she said, well, how is his relationship with his mother? And it was like Prototype said earlier, what if, he had a bad relationship with his mother? Like Sir Hale said, what if he was the victim in this particular situation? You see what I'm saying? So in this situation, I would probably use a different indicator than your parents. And it'll probably be a more truer indicator if you think about it. My thing is, how well do you treat people who can't do anything for you? The Bible tells us how you treat the least of us is what he's looking at. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times we will actually make adjustments to how we treat people based upon what we can get from them. You know what I mean? We'll put on the old sweet, nice, voice. I was wondering if I could just borrow this or if I can get this. If you can loan me $40 until I get paid, that type of thing. You'll get all nice and sweet until you get what you need to get from that person. But the minute you can't get something from somebody, oh, you's an old so-and-so. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is this: a better indicator of how somebody truly is that if they treat somebody who can't do anything for them badly. That is a more honest indicator on of who that person really is.
That's what's up, man. Hey, y'all started off pretty heavy early.
We were deep.
Yeah, I think it's good though. It's good to start deep early. See where we at. Check the temperature.
That's what she said. No, I'm just...
you for real, but I get it. And so because Elena, I mean, you're entitled to your preferences. I think what we're trying to do is make sure that you don't alienate a potential partner that may have had some of those traumas that would prohibit you from finding somebody dope. Because for me and my mom relationship wasn't necessarily the best. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a pretty dope dude. You know what I'm saying? I love her to death, but I'm saying our relationship wasn't necessarily what mothers have been, because I had to grow up real early. You know what I'm saying? So nevertheless, your preference is your preference. We just looking out for you. All right. So here we go. We going into the next phase. We're going to try to transition, really kind of like what Sir Hale was getting into. He said some of these people don't want to get into a relationship because of something. So we're going to be putting together some lists. And so the first list that we're going to talk about is what is stopping people from getting married. So we're going to talk, that's going to be our first list. Okay. So I'm going to give you time to think about, give me one or two things that you believe is stopping either the man or the woman from getting married. We're going to start with the people that haven't been talking. And so you already know who hasn't approached this conversation yet. So get yourself ready. This is me giving you think time. Hopefully she knows who I'm talking about. So that kind of narrows it down to 3 people. You know what I'm saying? We're going to start with Ash.
Good, because I got an answer. How about this? Ha, bam, I was already
sent my sister homework.
That's what's up.
I sent my sister homework.
That's what's
pretty
up.
Much, for me, I see why men don't, because of what are they getting out of it? Is what is beneficial to them. That's why I see with a lot of people, it's like I go in, but on the inside, what am I getting besides the show? You know, I say it all the time. People want the show, but they're not really work on the meat and bones when they get into the marriage after the show is done. So with me, I see that a lot of people is looking at, okay, you married, but what now? The what now is not clear to them. And I'm gonna keep it short, and I'm gonna go with Sir Hale.
Shout out to the one of the only Ash in the building. Appreciate you. It's a great question, and so I want to be transparent tonight. So one of the things is the fear of divorce, with no fault divorce being the thing in the Western civilization, right? The fact that you can invest yourself emotionally, financially, spiritually, in every area, and get a divorce, and you have no clue, you don't see it coming. As a man, a lot of people are avoiding marriage because of the effects of divorce. I think it's a very real issue. It's a very real fear that people have, because you lose so much depending on what you are, what field you're in, and professionally. A divorce could hinder your potential career opportunities, right? It could sabotage your reputation. Like, let's say if me as a relationship coach, or somebody who is like a proponent and an advocate for marriage, if I'm talking about marriage and all the benefits of it, and then a year later you guys see me, right, getting divorced, well, my reputation takes a hit, and then now all the things that I've said about marriage, it is sort of blemished, even if the facts are still true. You take into account, child support, and for those who are more affluent, alimony, and the distribution of assets. Even if one party is not responsible for, the resources that are available, is like divorce costs so much, and so that's a very real fear that people have. And then I think that there's this hyper focus on materialistic things. So like people would rather have things, have the career, have stuff, and if they see that they can get more of those things in a marriage, then they'll do that. But people are avoiding that because for them, they think that it takes away their autonomy. So it's this hyper focus on the acquisition of materialistic things because we all think we're going to be young forever. We're going to all be in our 20s. We're going to all stay fine forever. Our teeth are going to always stay in. Our hair is not going thin. We're never going to have health issues. We're never going to need companionship. And then, so I think it's that. And then is that fear of divorce. I think those are the two of the major reasons why people are hesitant to get married today. And with that said, I will go with Brother Ricky's in the building.
Oh man, why so many reasons, but the main one is y'all don't know what love is. Y'all don't. Everybody talk about love and don't have no understanding of what it means. None. Nobody's willing to sacrifice, and nobody's willing to put their ego to the side. You don't look at it. People don't look at a marriage as bigger than them. They're bigger than a marriage. That's it. Tamia, what you got?
No, before you go, Ricky, can you break that down for me? People think that they're bigger than the marriage. Can you elaborate, please?
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time, especially in these spaces. And I'm talking real world. I talk to ladies at my job. I could talk to them about their husbands. They come to me or whatever, and we kick it. It's always me, never we. Right? I have yet for somebody to come up to me and be like, you know what, we going through this. Right? They be like, I'm having these problems, right? He gets on my nerves. She doing it. It's never, hey, we going through this. So like I said, most people's idea of what the union is it's skewed from the start. So you don't even know what you in. You think you think this your accessory and not your companion. Tamia, what you got?
So I put down ego. Well, I put down 3 things. I put ego, fear, and greed. But because you said 2, I'm going to talk about ego and greed because it seems like a theme as well. So ego and the fact of like, people don't know what love is. So they're not willing to put themselves up for possible divorce or heartbreak or simply just, becoming one with another person because their ego is too large. It's like, this is who I am now. That autonomy has to do with their ego. I have my own time. I have my own things. I go where I want to go. And then I might give it up for somebody who might mess up or like leave me or, do whatever the case may be. So I definitely think ego, especially like for my age group in their 20s, is big on ego. It's like, oh, I'm scared to like share a life with somebody. Or you'll even hear some people like, oh, I want to get married, but I want to have like, I want to live on like separate sides of the house. Like they want a house with 2 separate parts. They don't even want to be together because it's about like their needs and themselves. So even about thinking of wanting to get married, wanting that partner, which I think only is a security thing, at least for women, like just to say like, oh, I have a partner, I'm going to get married. I know I'm good. I don't have to worry about dating, but not necessarily for like a becoming one with someone. There's still that like, yeah, I want my own space, but I don't want to share a room with him, but I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that because he'll embarrass me. And you kind of want to stick to that singleness almost in a marriage. It's crazy. And then greed. For that same reason, you have your own wants, you have your own needs. You don't want to release your autonomy or share your money or join your bank accounts or do anything like that because it seems all too risky. So I would say ego and greed are a big reason why people are dating each other forever. Literally. And I'm going to go with Elena.
Okay, so I had a couple, but I would say what I've noticed and realized from talking to men and women, because I'm in the mental health field. So men, I feel like they express a lot about divorce. I feel like that's a fear that I hear men always say divorce and women taking their money, which is, women will divorce men because they feel a certain way or they're bored. So, I feel like that's a very realistic fear. And I think for women, it's like they feel like getting married, the man's going to try to control them. He's going to cheat on her and she's going to be stuck. And it's also what Tamia said. Women, they have all this stuff. They don't want to be in a room with their man. Like they want to live a separate life, but have that marriage title and that certificate. Because I feel like a lot of women sometimes, especially newer generation, they get married because it's the thing to do. It looks good. They want to dress up. They want to live that Cinderella fantasy or whatever it is. And I also think social media plays a part. A lot of people are under the impression that they have more options than they actually do. So in return, they feel like they're better than this person, or people on social media saying, don't marry somebody if they're not making this amount of money. So those are mine right there. I think that was 2 or 3. I don't know. And then I'm going to go with the one who just joined. Is he Dwayne?
How you doing, beautiful people? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with y'all on that one. I heard pride, ego, and social media, and those will be my top 3 I pick. And social media has people, I see a lot of bads going on about marriage going on social media, living their best life until they're 50 and then realize they made a mistake. So I'll go with that. And also then the pride and arrogance ties into that. It's like, I don't need a man. I don't need this. But then that's, stopping people from getting married too. From the man's standpoint, I don't need nobody tying me down, so shots at them too, because they think that they're good by themselves. But no, it don't work like that. That's not how God designed it. So I'll go with those 3. Prototype, you in yet? Come on with it.
This one's going to get a little personal too, like my peer group, right? When I talk to my cousins and my homeboys and things that we've gone through growing up, I would say the reason why people are not getting married, well, men, right, would be we're dating her placeholders. We're not dating our prototype spouse that we would want to marry. We're just in a relationship with this girl who's given us the goods for a long time. She don't never really ask us for too much, but that we know we really don't want her long term. And 2, we're probably dating a girl that hurt us during the dating process, and we just haven't upgraded or found another one yet. But secretly, we vowed to ourselves that we'll never give this woman our last name. We'll probably have a baby with her or whatever, but she hurt us. Maybe she did us dirty at the beginning, and we wasn't smooth enough to, make a transition or whatever might have happened. But this girl probably hurt us at some point, and we vowed that I will never give this girl my name. You know what I'm saying? So I would say amongst my peer group, those are the 2 biggest reasons. Either we're dating a placeholder, or the girl we're dating hurt us, and we're never going to fold that way.
Interesting thought. Is it on Lost in Translation? Let's get it.
Here's my thing. I think the major issue with the reason why most people don't want to get married is because of a lack of emotional equity. And what I mean by that is that you have some people who want to seek to extrapolate something from the relationship. And that's not really how marriage works. You should find someone who is looking to give to the marriage. You see what I'm saying? We already know the man's going to give because it's in his nature. But in giving as the woman, that is also her inherent helping as well. In certain cases, it may fall on financial means, if she wants to help. Other ways, there may be a spiritual need, some type of inspiration, you know what I mean? Anticipating that man's need, anticipating the needs of the family, those type of things. When you get in marriage, you should want to be able to give to something, like Ricky said, greater than yourself. Because I think that people actually go along with things that are better when they feel like it's something greater than themselves. The buy-in is a whole lot easier that way when you want to do something greater than yourself. And my thing is this: the emotional equity in situations like that sometimes tend to be balanced. Sometimes maybe on the male side, maybe on the female side, depending upon the dynamics of the couple. But there's always someone who's going to feel slighted if one person is always taking and one person is always giving. And that's when you have regret and resentment in that relationship. And that fosters a lack of communication. And then that relationship dies by death by 1,000 paper cuts. And that's exactly what happens with that. So that's the main major reason why most relationships don't last, because they don't look to see what they can give to the relationship versus what they can get from it.
So you're saying they're mainly looking for the value and things. Did y'all know? Well, this is what I found in my study. In amongst Black people, we are the ones, and y'all probably already know this. We ride the trends, right? So what I saw and what I read was that Black people are not really loyal to any particular brand of things. It's whatever is popping at the time, right? And so that makes me think that if marriage was popping, then more Black people will get married, right? So they would do it out of the position of, I think one person said, kind of like out of peer pressure, so to speak. And so what we are now is that marriage is not seen as a positive thing. So therefore, most of our culture is like marriage doesn't make sense to do. So with that being said, I know we got some people on the panel that are pro marriage, if I can say it like that. So I want to talk about what is a valuable quality of marriage. So we're creating our own list. So you only got to give one. If you want to give two, you can. And so the question is, what is a valuable quality of marriage?
I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
Obedience. Obedience. I tell people all the time, obedience is better than sacrifice. You know what I mean? If you get into a situation where you've agreed to do something, then just do it. Now, you get into a situation where somebody does something outside of what you guys discuss, then here comes the sacrifice. You know what I mean? You're going to spend more time trying to correct something versus when you had an agreement. So I would say obedience would be at the top. You know what I mean? Even when you get married, you know what I mean? That love, honor, and obey. There's a reason why those three are in there. You know what I'm saying? Love is when you love somebody and you love them past, I don't like you today. You know what I mean? Honor is when you respect somebody to the point where you don't want to, dishonor them. You know, you hold them in high regard. You don't talk about them behind their back. You know what I'm saying? It allows the community to help you because you said, hey, this is a good person. And then obey is the agreement. You know what I mean? This is what we agreed upon. So if you ask me, obedience is a great key indicator of whether or not a relationship is going to last. It is a key ingredient that you may want to investigate and have that in your vows.
Who you got next?
Let me go with Sir Hale.
I got lost in translation. All right, so I'm going to go off script and I'm going to say something that I normally don't say. I think participation is a valuable quality, the commitment to participate. If you look at the cause of most divorces and breakups and why people fail, it is because one or both persons, either the wife or the husband, somebody stopped participating. Somebody stopped participating in quality conversation, in quality communication, in love making, in honoring the vows, in being obedient, in nurturing the relationship. Somebody stopped participating. And the person who stops participating in that marriage ends up going to nurture something else, whether this is their career or it is another person, it is a thing. So in a marriage, in order for it to work, in a valuable quality that everybody must look at is a person's ability to participate long-term, knowing that there are going to be issues and ups and downs and left and rights and curveballs thrown. But if they have a commitment to stay engaged in it, even when they don't feel like it, and when it's unpleasant or when it doesn't seem like it's going in their favor, their ability to stay focused and to participate even through those difficulties, to me, are one of the most valuable assets for marriage. Who do I have going next? Let's go with Ash.
Okay, so you would call me when I'm stumped. All right, thanks. Appreciate you. Let's see. Qualities. I don't know. This one here got me stuck because y'all done took everything. I mean, the obedience, yeah, because you need that. And participation, that's a real good one. Yeah, you really got me stuck with this one. I guess I could just say, how are you when I'm not around? Like, how do you show my character?
You
Like,
couldn't think of
get
nothing?
into it.
You couldn't think of nothing? You couldn't think of nothing? And that's what you came up with?
Sounds like integrity. Sounds like integrity.
That's what I came up with. Because I mean,
That's
it
dope.
goes in line with obedience. It's just like, how you represent me when my back is turned? Like when I'm not around. That's the only way I can go with it. Because how you represent me when I'm not around says a lot, because word of mouth travel. When I go around your family, what you done said to them is gonna come back on how they treat me or how your friends look at me, your coworker. Because I know Prototype has said it, when we go to the Christmas dinner and when I show up, how everybody looking at me. Is they giving me a side eye? Are they looking at me like, oh, he's still with her, huh? He ain't dropped off? He gonna bring it to the dinner. All right. Everybody, be on your P's and Q's because she ready to get started. Look at her face. How are you representing me when I'm not around? And I'm gonna go with Uncle Rick.
To me personally, the most valuable quality of marriage is twofold. One, the reflection, right? And your mate, you can reflect. And if they're your mate, right, and you guys have, again, this is my relationship. I can't speak for nobody else. I'm speaking for my relationship, right? And you guys have the understanding that nothing as far as talking is taboo, right? You can see yourself, and it's not that we define each other, we refine each other, right? We refine each other. I see what she allows me to be me, so she can point out what the things I need to work on and vice versa, right? And I don't just improve for me. I just don't improve for her. That feedback comes from me because I want her to be a better woman for me and herself, and me to be a better man for her and myself. Right? That's the synergy of marriage. To me personally, if you in a real marriage. And number two, humble. The art of learning to be humble. A marriage will humble you quick. It will humble you quick. Right? I think all of us need a little of that from time to time. Dwayne, what you got, bro?
Oh man, for me the highest quality I would say is love. Man, because I think all that y'all was saying, it encompasses that and all of it. Because for me, you gotta love the person that you're with more than you love yourself. And that's a tough one to say, but that's ultimately what it is. Being able to put yourself second, which usually we want to put ourselves first, but that's what it is about doing something for others, right? Is you could do for yourself, but what are you doing for others? So in a relationship, it is about love and all that it says in, what is it, 1 Corinthians, as for love being patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it's not proud, it doesn't dishonor others. All of that is encompassing love. So that's to me the highest quality. So whenever you commit to somebody and you're willing to spend the rest of your life with that person, that's the promise that you're making with that person. That's the commitment that you're making with that person. And with that, you have to have all those things, because in order for the relationship to sustain with all of our deficiencies, because nobody's perfect, right? You have to have love. Let's go with Tamia.
You said love. I'm gonna say companionship. So like a friendship, a companion, because you can very much be in a marriage and lose the friendship, lose that this is my person, this is my partner. And I think that companionship gets you through some of the hardest times, even when you're like, oh, the love doesn't feel like it's there so much. When you have a friend or you have a partner, it's like that bigger idea than self that Uncle Rick was talking about, where it's like, this is my friend, like this is my person, we're here together, we become one. So I think companionship is extremely important, because when you're in a marriage and you feel alone, that's where you have that person, that participation begins to lack, or that love begins to lack, because now it's not a we thing anymore. So yeah, I'll say companionship, and I'm gonna go with I don't know, the Prototype. Did you go? Okay, so you can go Prototype.
The benefits of a marriage, I think, is the question, right? or the
It's
so
scrolling. It's like, what is the valuable quality? What is a valuable quality of marriage?
so I look at every man as a company, right? That's how I see myself. That's how I think every man should see itself. I ask the question is how successful can you be in a company of one? You know what I'm saying? No managers, no VP, no workers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're running a whole company by yourself. You can't expand. There's nothing you could do. You're limited into what you can accomplish. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it like that. And you get a wife that, you know, is along your program, then you can expand your company, be a little bit more successful. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why most millionaires are married. You know what I'm saying? They get divorced and they get remarried. You know what I mean? There must be something to it. You know what I'm saying? Because a company of one is just it's limiting. You know what I mean? So I'll say it like that. That's my thinking on it.
And
I don't know who haven't went yet.
I think it's Elena. Right,
It's Elena.
Elena? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's me. Okay, I would say compatibility. Kind of like what Tamia said, like if love leaves the marriage, where's the friendship? Are you guys even compatible on a friendship level? And also, like Prototype said, it's just like when you're doing job interviews or you're being interviewed, are you a good fit for this company? Are you a good fit for this person in this marriage? Because I feel like a lot of times people go through therapy, they're just not compatible at the end of the day. They could have saved the trouble and issues, but hey, we want what we want. So I'm giving an example. So for me, don't y'all jump down my throat, but if you wasn't raised by a married couple, I can't date you. I just can't. We're not compatible. You don't have the same experience as me. You don't have the same thought process. You haven't seen the marriage. So we're like two different lives there. Okay. And then another example is, say I'm a married woman, I marry a man. His idea of marriage is you quit your job, you stay home and you cook, but yet her idea of marriage is no, I'm going to continue to work. We're going to hire a nanny. So that's conflict because nobody ever addressed, hey, are we even compatible on our ideas of marriage? So compatibility would be mine.
That's what's up. Anybody want to respond into this conversation? Y'all have some really good takes.
Well, I did want to ask Rick, how does marriage humble you?
It quells your ego. You're gonna have to quell your ego at one time or another. Do you not agree?
No.
I know. That's why I asked. But no, I mean, in a lighter note, you know, it comes a time where you got to put yourself to the back burner, put what you want at that time to the back burner for the betterment of the team or your wife at that time, depending on what's going on. So it humbles you. You know, I understand you the man. If I had your hands, I'll cut mine off. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of.
No, I mean, I'm just trying to think where you know what I mean. It's not that I'm putting myself on the back burner. Like the goals are always the goal of the family. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I'm always on the back burner if you look at it that way. But
right.
Really.
The big picture, yeah. But I'm talking about the little battles that you go through. You know what I mean? The little battles. For example, just an example. Sometimes it's some things that you want to do that might not affect things either way, right? But it might slow a plan down. It might delay something that was already on the pot. You got to put that to the side. You know what I mean? And again, this is my experience. You might have the means that's not a problem. You feel what I'm saying?
I got you.
Anybody else wanted to elaborate or ask a question to the panel?
Yeah, I wanted to reiterate what Ricky was saying to Prototype. He was asking, how does marriage humble you? Well, your wife knows where the bodies are buried in your closet. You know what I'm saying? If you built your marriage correctly, she should know things about you nobody else knows. And she chooses not to press that button. And if you know full well, if she decides to press that button, that could very well humble you. You see what I'm saying? I think that speaks to what Ricky was talking about. You know, the person who you're married with knows the most intimate details of you. She knows you in more ways than your own mother in certain cases. You see what I'm saying? So that's the reason why sometimes marriage can be humbling. And a lot of times your wife will point out things to you that you don't see, that you think that you're the greatest at. But she was like, no, you could be better here. You see what I'm saying? They're good at that, man. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to help us out. They fill in the blank in our blind spots where we don't see. You know what I mean? Sometimes as men, we think we're perfect and we got all the answers. Well, if we did, he wouldn't have sent us no wives to show us what we were missing. That's all that is.
Can I say one thing really briefly?
Well, I'm sure you're not gonna say one thing, but it's okay to me.
It's one thing. It's one topic, one statement.
Okay, let's see.
Just the concept. I think humbleness is, for example, Prototype was like, well, I guess I'm always putting myself on a back burner. Like, humbleness doesn't have to always be this sense of like lesser or making yourself smaller. I think you're humbling yourself at any moment where you consider that other person. So every time that you consider your wife or you think of your wife, that's a humble thought. That's a humble action. You're not being selfish. You're not saying, like, while there are benefits for yourself, and while you are, you know, still thinking of yourself and you still have the last say, it is a humble act to be like, I care about my wife and I'm including her in that. So I think if that perspective as well is vital. Like, humbleness is just a simple act of putting her before you or thinking of her or prioritizing your partner.
Yeah, because Jesus knew who he was, but he humbled himself. You know what I'm saying? It didn't stop him from being who he was, you know. And same thing about you, Prototype. I think that there's a humility about you because you promote family, you know, and you promote like young dudes doing better for themselves, as well as you coach and teach and mentor young dudes. I mean, that's not because you just want to be great. That's because you want them to be great. So that's a sense of humility because you're putting somebody before you. I had to learn that as well. You know what I'm saying? So for sure, man. This is good. Are y'all okay? Y'all good? Is this good so far? Kind of, sort of. All right, got it. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I'm listening to y'all and I'm trying to transition. Like y'all make it to where I have to think about different questions than I already had, right? And so I'm gonna go with, you know, the theme of this evening is how to make a list, but I want to talk about what are some advantages. What is it? I need to rewrite that. What is an advantage or disadvantage and disadvantage? What is an advantage and a disadvantage of a list? Okay, of a list, right? Because we got all these. I mean, y'all have seen them. I mean, been all these different memes and things of that nature. Whether it's food, whether it's you know, restaurants, whether it's okay, what type of man you should date, what type of woman you shouldn't date. We got all these lists, right? And so I'm a person that creates a list almost every day because I want to see what I can accomplish in that day. That's the type of list I make. But let's talk about it. And this is a free for all. You can comment or not. You know, what's an advantage and a disadvantage of a list?
I call dibs.
Go ahead, Tamia.
I love lists. I make a to-do list. I have a planner. I have a phone calendar. I love a list. I grew up like that. But I think the advantage is that you have an idea of what's coming next or what you would like or your desires. It helps you organize or compartmentalize your needs, your wants, whether that be in a relationship or how you want your day to look or what you want for Christmas. It doesn't matter. It helps organize it, right? It's a way to put your thoughts on paper or in front of you and then keep it in mind and move accordingly. Disadvantage is lists can limit you depending on how flexible you are. So of course we talk about relationships here. You can have a list. I think lists are important when it comes to dating or relationships or your standards. That list, though, if you are not open to the fact that your list is not the only thing that exists and that your list is not the only way that things can go, you can then very much hinder or make your situation stagnant or keep yourself in a box. So I think that as a person who loves lists and finds them very useful, it is very important to keep an open mind. Because if you look at that list, there are some things, yes, you can create your non-negotiables, but make sure your list moves with reality. If you have a list for your day, there's a chance your tire might go flat. somebody might be late. You have to be able to shift that. If it's dating, this person may not look this way, but may check off every other box on your list. Does that mean you throw the whole person away? You might not have to. You might throw the whole person away based on your list and your perception, and then end up by yourself for a longer period of time, or slower your pace to getting to where you want to be just because you were so fixated on that list, or miss out on a lot of opportunities or experiences. So those are my advantages and disadvantages. Always make a list at the start of your day. It's very helpful.
I'm gonna jump in. Don't make no list. They just keep you compared to an order of things. Y'all know I like to disrupt things. To me, I just feel like right now this list is getting out of control, because really, who's checking all this? You got people they ain't never been nowhere, making up these fictitious lists coming out of nowhere, and they trying to check all these boxes. First of all, do you check any boxes? Because see, people making this list one way. You telling somebody a man got to do A, B, Z, and jump to 3, 9, 2, 9, and go back to A and B, make sure he cross-eyed C to make sure he hit D. That's not fair, because you don't even qualify for about 3 of them. Because I know, me being a baby mama, I was number 2 or 3 on the list I sent you, HD. I was doing I said, oops, I don't qualify for this list. But at the same time, hey, you throwing somebody away that can cook, clean, cook from scratch. I get in there and get with it. But since you don't want to deal with no extra children, I don't blame you, because I don't want to deal with them half the time anyway. That's your preference. But at the same time, people need to understand, what are you making a list from? What are you seeing that makes you qualify for this list? Because the list that you're laying out, you may not even qualify for half of that. And some of these women run around here talking about they want to eat at Steak 48 and don't even go to Burger King on the regular. Come on now. You used to warming up chicken nuggets and fries in the oven. Come on now. That's what I'm saying.
Wait.
You can't get your hair done on the regular, but you want this man to go ahead and break you off 1,000 just because you feel like you deserve it. Yeah, we all deserve something. But at the same time, when we make a list, let's be realistic about it. Let's be able to say, hey, I may not be number 1 on this man's list, but I know I bring this and this on my list. Let's stack up these lists and make sure we're able to check too. Any other way, you can have a list all day, but it's not a guarantee of win. Like you said, you're gonna be in a box.
List. But then you still got, but Ash, you got a list too. You have a list.
Please. You know what I did with that list?
You have a list. You have a list.
I burnt it.
But you have it. But you have a list still. Like there's no way you don't have a list. There's no way you don't have 2, 3 things that are like non-negotiable for you. Respect, value, your morals. You have a list. Now, granted, your list has to be. That's a list of things. If somebody told you right on paper, what are like if it's in your head, if it's on paper, what is the man? So you're telling me you have daughters, you have a list. You have a list.
There's a list, but it doesn't mean I don't.
It doesn't have to. No, but that's what like that's the same thing I said. Be flexible, or you may limit yourself, or make sure your list is realistic to life, and that it can adjust. But it doesn't say F a list. Like you still got to
say tab up, throw it away. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna make
but
yourself.
But that's not at the list. That's saying at the list. If you throw it away.
I just said tad up. Keep half of it and read the
Ladies, can I jump in here? Ladies, can I jump in here?
Go ahead, get it, Brother Hale.
So, you ladies are wonderful ladies, but y'all should even be part of this conversation. Your job is not to have a whole list of what you want from a man. Your job is to be what's on a man's list. I know that we've kind of moved into this modern society where women have their list. He's got to be X, Y, and Z. And that's why most women can't keep nobody, because y'all got all of these things y'all want. And the list is the most hypocritical piece of paper on there, because most of these things are speaking to the woman you think you are, but you're not. And in the next 5 to 10 years, that list is going to change. And so it doesn't matter if a man comes into your life and gives you that right now, you won't like him in 5 years. So ladies, we don't care about your list. He should be leading, he should be loving, and he should be providing. If he does those things and you can fill in the gaps, then you need to focus on that man. But you do need to focus on you being able to fulfill a man's list, because a woman's list is typically about what she wants. A good man's list is about what he gets from her, but the list makes him better, but it makes her better too. So, ladies, y'all shouldn't even be part of this conversation. Y'all got 3 things. Let the men talk about this.
Still
Go
a
ahead,
list.
let me sit back and sip.
Still a list. It's still a list of 3 things.
On my list.
I mean, it took. Go ahead, bro. My bad, though.
No, I don't even know if I should really, spill out my list. I want to go to the question. What's the question?
The question was, what's an advantage or a disadvantage of having a list?
I mean, it's just like putting out a job description. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. Like you need, if the kind of man you are, like for me, I know what kind of life I wanted to live, right? So, athletic, make me look good at the Christmas party. I knew where I was going to be. Like I knew where my life was going. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm gonna be around, I'm gonna live a professional life. So there's gonna be a lot of Christmas parties. All right, she got to check that box. You know what I'm saying? I'm athletic. I still play ball and stuff. I like to dominate other couples. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll go to the hoop court with my wife and I'll be like, hey, let's play 2-on-2. If I see another man and another woman, she hates it. But that's what I like to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? We play softball together. Like, so I wanted to live an athletic life. So she had to check that box. Pretty feet was a must. She had to check that box. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's advantages of having a list because you could kind of get somebody in there that, with some skills. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of learning on the job, you know what I mean, regardless of the situation, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's really just a guideline. It's nothing hard you stick to because some people don't know or do know. People lie on resumes all the time where they say they have a skill set and they really don't, you know what I'm saying? And that's up to you as an employer to be like, all right, I'm going to work with this and teach them the skills they need to know or not. You know what I mean? So it's really the only thing that should be on your list is somebody willing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only real thing that I could that my wife had was like she always came off as I'm willing to be on the program. So I was like, go bet. That's hard to find. You know what I'm saying? So let's roll with it. But she had a lot of other things too. So
yeah, the advantage is it gives you a chance to visualize and manifest. Right. That's the advantage. The disadvantage to a list is what my brother Sir Hill said. Women, it gives y'all too many options. I use the example all the time. How a woman's supposed to just go to the mall to get a pair of shoes. You in there all day. Right? A list diverts a woman away from the focus of what she's supposed to be doing. Right? I say this all the time, right? I ain't gonna say I say it all the time, but I had a revelation, Brother Harold. You want to hear it? I had a revelation. In the Bible, right? It said that man should serve his wife as Jesus served the church, correct? Or something of that nature, right? But it also said the wife had to submit, correct?
In everything.
Right. So ladies, y'all need to understand, y'all got to submit to my service for it to work. Right? Not what your idea of service is, what my idea of service is. You must submit to my service. Let me give you an example. You ever went to a restaurant with somebody and no matter how good the waiter was, a person that was never happy? Waiter did their job 100%, right? 110% went out their way. Ooh, my steak ain't right. Ooh, my food touching. But I got to use a girl voice because I never seen a man do that. So I apologize, right? And that person can serve you, give you the best service you ever had. But if you with somebody who don't appreciate that, don't submit to the service, don't sit back in their chair and let this person provide that service for them, it's the worst experience ever, ain't it? You don't even feel like finishing your food. You be like, I'm so embarrassed. Let's get up out of here. You ever been there? Y'all got to submit to my service, not what your idea, my service. Right? But y'all won't, not y'all, but the modern woman, y'all want service on y'all time. It don't go like that. It doesn't go like that. But if you believe it do, good luck to you.
Anybody else want to add?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I think the advantages are you look introspectively and see what your core values are, and then you're going to, just like what you said, project those out, and with that, it's going to manifest that person into your life that you so desire, and then the rest are amenities or preferences. So I think that's the advantages for it. The disadvantages are certain things are subject to change. Not the core values. I don't think we should compromise those core values. But as for those other preferences, those are subject to change. But I was thinking about this list though, and I was thinking it was pertaining to planning. I'm a terrible planner. I don't like planning. I don't like it. Right? Because then things I like to wing it, go with the flow, see what happens. Other people, my wife, she's a planner. She writes stuff down. I'm like, golly. And the amount of time it takes to think and put that stuff down, there's value in it. But then the subject to things change. I'm like, man, you spent all that time thinking about that. Look at it now. And it's like, but then that's the same thing. Oh, come on, see, color coding, all that stuff. Got the sticky notes for the sticky notes. My goodness, planner's got a planner. My. See, I just go with the flow, because again, but then again, I see value in it. I do. So it's tough for me.
So it's tough for you to have a plan.
To plan. So like the core, the let's say if I'm going to SeaWorld, I know that I need to have a vehicle to get to SeaWorld, and I need to know where SeaWorld is. There we go. I need to make sure I have the days to go to SeaWorld. That's for vacation time and all that stuff, and that's it, right? Go with the flow. Most people want as to where we're staying, what time we getting there, what time we're doing this, that, and the other. It's like we just going. That's me. Minimalist on that planet.
See, that's how I am. That's how I am. When I take my kids, like if I do a road trip, hey, get up. I already done packed the stuff. We getting in the car. We rolling.
You don't tell them where you're going and all that?
No.
So they can ask questions?
No, because you ain't finna harass me.
Exactly.
That's the thing. See, I done adapted to this bus driver life of getting up 2 o'clock in the morning, hopping in the car and go. See, all that list and stuff, see, my kids are nosy. Like, we don't, like I tell you all the time, we don't really have boundaries. I'm surprised ain't nobody came in here yet because they know they're supposed to be asleep. But they come in and out. So with me trying to write stuff down and try to make sure I got it, I have to kind of hide Christmas present and try to be creative now, because I got one that's still in my clothes. So I can't really just hide something in the closet. So it's like, okay, where can I put this? Okay, I got to wait on this. So that's why I say I'm not against the list. I just tear mine up because I know me, I got to be on the whim. You know, when I say jump in the car, they already know we going somewhere. But don't ask me no question, because I'm not saying nothing. I'm going to turn the music up. The music going to go a little louder. You ask another question, I'm turning it up a little bit more. Oh, another question, I'm turning it up. If you ain't hungry and you ain't got to use the restroom, don't ask me the questions. Because whenever we get there is whenever we get there. Because I don't want you to, like, if something happened on the road or say I need to turn around real quick, I don't want you to be, like, disappointed. Like, I drove them to, what was that, Disney World, just on the whim. You think I told them? No. What I'm telling you for, you ain't finna do no driving. You ain't finna harass me this whole trip.
Are we there yet?
Yeah, are we there yet? Sit on your iPad, do what you do back there. Don't harass me, eat snacks, and let me know when you got to pee. And don't do that when we out here in the middle of nowhere. Don't do that part. You know.
Wait a minute. So wait. Okay. I was rocking with you, but then you said, so if y'all in the middle of nowhere, don't tell them that you got that. Don't tell you they got to pee.
No, don't tell me when we get there. Like if you seen a store and you knew you had to pee way back up there.
Oh, okay.
Let me know then so we can stop. But
they're gonna say I didn't know I needed to go then.
Start making their list. They could work.
Here
they could work
That's
on their
why
list.
when we stop and get gas, everybody gotta go to the restroom, whether you want to go or not. Everybody going. That's my list. We just gonna go with the flow, because you don't know. Like you can, like I'm always good with my car. You know, I get it inspected and do all that before we do a major road trip or whatever. But things happen. You know, ultimately may go out. I've had that happen before. It's just I don't stick to a list because I know me. I change my mind real quick. I say we coming back Sunday. Shoot, we might stay Tuesday, you know, depending how I feel or how many drinks I done had. If I want to get back on the road, I'm just being honest. Like I have all the good planners and stuff. Child, I get to looking at stuff and I'm like, whatever. They'll tell me. I just go with the flow.
Elena, what you got on it? Did you have something you wanted to contribute?
I mean, I kind of what you guys been saying. I feel like a lot of women, they'll get stuck on that list. And a lot of women are 50 and 60 years old talking about they still gonna wait on that list. So the list gonna keep you single. That's all. That's my opinion.
Really? You think that a list will keep a woman single?
I see it all the time. You see them all over social media. Women 50, 60, they're not settling. I'm like, man, you almost, you know, to the end of your lifetime. But yeah, they're not settling.
Why is there an age limit on the list?
But is anybody meeting the list? That's what she's saying. Nobody's meeting this fictitious list because they're not flexible. That's the thing. Nobody's teaching being flexible about the list.
It's unrealistic.
My grandma has a list. She's 80. She's 82 years old. She done been married 3 times. She still got a list. You know what I'm saying? So, and I believe she'll probably get married again. She just told me yesterday, hey, if you find somebody tall, dark skinned, and artistic and smart, man, and
she
in
won't
70s,
what everybody else won't. Like,
listen, like, yeah, but I mean, she went it like all 3 of my grandfathers was just that, like, you know what I mean? So,
but I feel like as time goes on, some of the stuff needs to fall off the list. Like being athletic and you 70 years old. What 70-year-old man out here dunking on people? Like, I mean, I just feel like some stuff just needs to fall off the list, but a lot of people keep stuff on the list.
But don't you think that's interesting, Elena, though? You have your preference.
What? Hold up, what were we talking about?
I see you, HD. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, HD.
Judgerton, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like you have a particular thing that is very particular to our culture, right? Mm-hmm. And it's on your list. Will that be something that will fall off your list, considering that a lot of dudes listen for like real quick, right? So dudes that come from a 2-parent household typically get married very soon. They get married early because they recognize what that looks like. Like they typically, I would imagine, are not in their 30s. You know what I'm saying? So because they understand what the value of being married early looks like, right? So like I have 4 kids. My sons, we talk about it, man. Listen, don't be waiting. You know what I'm saying? And I got some rock solid dudes. When you say Dwayne, and they gonna be some heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be tall. They're gonna be handsome. They are handsome. They smart. They love Jesus. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be very well versed in marriage as well as being a man, okay? And a woman is going to have to be top tier to even be what they pretty much approach. You know what I'm saying? So if you're saying that it's going to, do you think that it's ever going to fall off for you as a particular standard? Because that's a high one.
No, I don't. I mean, because you got to keep in mind, everybody in my family, my aunties, uncles, everybody's married. That's like my whole lifestyle. So now I'm not saying that list, like, I tried to, first of all, I'm divorced. I was married right out of college. I got married. So I'm divorced now. But I've tried dating people who haven't had the same background as me, but it's different because they see it differently. They see relationships differently. You know, they haven't seen that marriage example, so it just does not work. It's just 2 different worlds to me. But no, that's never going. I mean, that's not really going to fall off. But that's not something that I feel like is a deal breaker. Like I said, if a person is healed, or you know, they had an example, maybe they had a coach, maybe they had a pastor who they seen a marriage. As long as they've seen a marriage. It doesn't necessarily have to be.
Oh, that verbiage switched up.
Just as long as they've seen that. Like I'm willing to budge in my list as far as that goes. But someone who, I ain't going past that. Like I'm willing to wiggle on that part.
Let her make it, prototype. Let her make it.
No, you missed it. You missed it. You missed it. She stood strong on that at the beginning. She said, "I'm not budging off for that." No, that verbiage switched up now.
No, because I said, I even mentioned if people are not healed. Just like I said, if he sits there and tells me, okay, I don't really get along with my mother, but I still love her. Like I said,
she did say that.
It was kind of like, it just depends on the situation. Yeah. Like I said, yeah. I mean, if you had some sort of example of it didn't have to be a marriage. Maybe your parents were together your whole life, they never got married. But if you had an example of a 2-parent household anywhere in your life, I'm willing to accept that versus someone who just came from 2-parent household marriage like I did, you know?
So yeah, you had
my bitch was non-wiggle, you know? Yeah.
Go ahead. But you got
to. I'm not budging on kids. If you got multiple baby mamas and a lot of kids, I'm not budging. I can't do it.
Well, that's different. Sense. That's different.
Yeah, that's
different. That comes with all the kids and the baby mamas.
Yeah, that's one thing. No exception to the rule there. I can't.
I think that's a solid one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's similar to women that have like a crazy body count.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So hell, what was you gonna say?
Yeah, so I got married at 19, and I've been married now 16 years. It'll be 17 years next year. 4 kids. My dad passed away when I was 5 years old. I had a tumultuous relationship with my mother. I was taken out of school in the 3rd grade, got my GED at 18 or 19 years old, and I'm doing good in my marriage. I say that to say, a lot of times, depending on how you come up and you see things, you believe that you see mom and dad as a child does, right? And so it's a great example. I advocate for parents to stay together so that their children can see a healthy example of how a man and a woman should coexist in love and in harmony. But in doing so, we never get the real picture of what it costs those parents to actually be together, because they did a good job of protecting the children from seeing the ugliness of marriage. And so I say this to say, no matter who you get married to, whether they come from a great background of parents, that are religious and they are esteemed and educated and affluent, you're still responsible for building your marriage into what you want your marriage to be. And the goal is not to simply look at somebody who comes from a nuclear family and use that as the basis of whether or not they're going to have the integrity in the foundation. It's to look at their character. And let me take it back. It is not about you. Like Elena, you seem like a very sweet lady. And I want to give you your credit. You're very well spoken. You're very well mannered. You come off, with very polished. But it seems like your perspective is what you're looking for is you're going into it about what you're looking for from a man, and he's got to be right. He's got to come from this. Your job is
he got to be like my daddy. I'm gonna be honest. He got to be like my daddy.
Well, hold on. Let me finish. And so what I'm saying is, you have an example. But this is where so many girls miss it. It's like, you got to be like my daddy, but are you like your mama, right? And then what about his mama? If he compares you to his mama, are you like her? So while there is a focus on what you want your man to be like, are you the equivalent of what your dad would attract? Right? Are you that already? Are you a good listener? Do you empathize? Are you compassionate? Are you okay with being a maid? Here is what I mean by being a maid. Acronym MAID. M stands for, are you mannerable? Like, do you have manners? Are you able to sit through a conversation and truly listen to a conversation and listen with emotional intelligence, not simply to respond to what's being said, but to respond in relation to the point that's being made, even if that man doesn't have the vocabulary to express himself in the most meticulous way? Do you have manners? The other part is, are you agreeable? Do you have the ability to, your man is a leader, he has a particular vision, and you have a strong will and personality. You got thoughts too. You're successful too. You got an education too. Can you humble yourself? Shout out to Ricky. Can you humble yourself and come into agreement with your man? Knowing that humility is not weakness, it is simply power under control. And then the I stands for, are you intelligent? Are you able to scope out and see things that are not seen in anticipation of the needs that your man is going to have? And then the D, and this is the big one, are you delightful to be around? No man wants to be around a woman who's so headstrong, who's so hell-bent on what she wants that she's no fun to be around. There's no inspiration. It's weighted. She sucks the oxygen out the room. So I say this to say, measure your potential mate from your dad. But before you do that, just make sure you like your mom, because it's unfair to expect your man to meet the standard of your father if we can't readily say that you meet the qualifications that your mother did.
I would say I'm definitely similar to my mother. I mean, I spent a great deal amount of time with my mother. My mother raised me to be a wife. So every lesson that I got from my mother, I definitely took into accountability. And also with my father, like I said, I have a very close relationship with my father. My father, if I have an issue with any man or something, you know, hey, Dad, am I wrong in this situation? Hey, Dad, what do you think? Do you think that I overstepped? You know, my man is saying this to me. What do you think, Dad? So, I mean.
Elena, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
So you say, and I don't want to make this about you, but you seem like we can have a good back and forth, and I love this. So if it's too much, just say, get off. But so says who? So you say, you know, you get these lessons from your mother, you get this and great, and I believe you, but says who? Here's what I notice most people have an estimation of themselves and have never really gotten feedback from the person that they're with. And so it's rhetorical, but it's a real question. I guess it's for all of us. Like, we think that we are one way, or we come off one way, or we are nice, or we're considerate. But says who? Like, how many of us have actually gotten a what do you call those? You know, at work, what do you call them? An evaluation? How many of you have gotten an actual evaluation from your spouse or your significant other, where you sat down and the sole goal was to sit down and say, hey, babe, you give me feedback on my performance in your life. And then you take that feedback and then you adjust yourself to prove that not only I'm listening, but I'm actively participating in this relationship, and I'm going to take your feedback and make a positive change to give you even better. How many of us have been evaluated? That's a real question for all of us. How many of us have humbled ourselves? Shout out to Ricky again, and gotten that feedback and then actually used it.
I could respond to that. So, I mean, like I said, I'm in the mental health field. So I'm very big on communication. Like, the person y'all are seeing right here, this is me business mode. This is Elena business. But as you guys have addressed several times in this podcast, no one exposes their relationship or who they are behind closed door. We all have a presenting self. So my presenting self is not who my spouse or mate sees. So, and I believe in therapy. I believe in couples counseling. I believe in going with someone who's been married 30, 40 years, going out to dinner with them regularly, having them evaluate the situation. And I'm very open to my man. Hey, how can I please you today? Have I done anything this week? I noticed that, you know, I noticed if my man's mood is off. Like, hey, how are you feeling? I noticed that I said something and it affected you. Can you talk to me? Like, I'm very open and communicative. But like I said, my presenting self may come off differently to you guys, but behind closed doors, I'm a different person. And I feel like that's what the majority of us on here. Because like I said, you guys mentioned in the last podcast about Savannah Bryant, like, she doesn't expose what goes on behind closed doors. But that's not.
Yeah, I think we don't think anything bad about you.
We're not attacking
we don't
you.
think
I think I was attacking the list that you were so firm on standing on. You know what I mean? When you was talking about, you got to come from a single parent, I mean, a married household, and you were standing firm on it. There's another thing you said that the mama thing, you standing firm on it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, it's not you, it's just your list.
yeah.
And some sort of example of a relationship. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, it happens to somebody at least every episode. I mean, Prototype has been a victim of being put on the hot seat before too. Dwayne has, you know what I'm saying? This is everybody. Ash has. I mean, everybody has got their turn. I think Sir Hale may have before. You know what I'm saying? So it was just your night.
It's all love.
Yeah, for sure. It all love. The goal is to grow, right? Like, if we're conversing about something that we are passionate about. Like, I don't think somebody would on this particular panel in which, when I'm picking people, I want them to care about the mission, right? And the mission is to promote healthy marriages. And so if we're seeing somebody that is maybe not leaning or has a position that may not be moving in that direction, everybody is going to have something to say about that particular thing that you may say. So hopefully no one is ever feels a certain way negatively when we have people on the panel, because I make sure that I pick people that are about the mission and are always respectful. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you call Ricky, you know what I'm saying? Now he's at the position, he's more mature than when he first started. You know what I'm saying? You remember Rick like a year ago? Listen, he wasn't as nice as he is now when he's provided his counsel. So I think these things are done to help us grow and get better. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. You know, if anybody has their last words, you can say it at this time, and we'll work it like this. You tell us where we can find you, what you learned of the day, and or what's your takeaway from the day. And we'll make sure everybody likes, shares, comments, subscribe to the channel. And shout out to the 800 that have subscribed to Humble Dad thus far. We're going for the G, right? And we're gonna start with Miss Elena. Right? Where can they find you, and what was your takeaway for the day?
Okay, you guys can find me at Elena J. Savage on YouTube. I have my own podcast. It's every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And my takeaway is I still believe in being with someone who came from a similar background as me. And you guys can also purchase my book, available on Amazon. And it's basically a self-help book, how I've grown as a person and individual. How I used to be a preacher's wife, by the way. Anyway, but yeah.
What's the name of the book?
It's called Tell of Tears by Elena J. Savage, and it's on Amazon.
That's what's up. Appreciate you being here. On you, Sir Hale.
Well, shout out to Humble Dad and to all of the esteemed guests, Elena, to Ash, to Wayne Jones, Uncle Rick, Lost in Translation, to me, a prototype. A salute to all of the beautiful chat. Thanks for watching tonight. So I just say this. Marriage is about your ability to serve. And I want us to get back to the place that if we're going to talk about marriage, we got to get out of this Western consumer take, receive mentality and realize that marriage is about you merging lives with somebody. And the whole goal of this is to go through the ups and downs and the challenges of life together. Marriage is a serious business. It is not something to be taken lightly. And it is something that if you really put the work and the effort in to make it great, marriage can make, listen, a good marriage can make you sing when you wake up in the morning and make you sleep more peacefully because you know you have somebody in this world full of chaos and people who are not on your team. You know you've got somebody that's going to love you unconditionally. And you throw faith on top of that, you know that they're going to love you based on the love that they get from God. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'm very saddened because the culture makes it seem like marriage is something you get in, and then as soon as it gets difficult, you just get right on out and then go find somebody else. I want us to realize that marriage is about service. It's about wives serving their husband. It's about husbands loving their wife, and about us honoring this so that when we produce children, we teach them how to be productive citizens as well to the honor and glory of God. So you guys can find me on Sir Hale's Speak podcast. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And you guys can find me there. If you guys really want to see me, come and check us out here on the Humble Dads podcast. Great work being done here. You guys can find me when he invites me on Mondays. We'll be here in full support. So much love to you all. Thanks for having me again, Humble Dad. Much love and respect to the panel.
Absolutely. On you, Ash.
As always, you can find me on IG, 360.diva. My takeaway is I might want to make a little list, but don't stick to it as usual. But all good. I just think that we're emphasizing the wrong thing with the list. It's like you want to prioritize, but what are you presenting? Like you still have to meet somebody else's list, you know, because we're like Sir Hale said, we're doing this one way, give and take. You're not putting what you're giving. You're just saying, this is what I'm taking. This is what I'm taking. What you're giving. At the end of the day, like I always say, I'm an advocate for the men because nobody speaks for them. On the women's side, like men deserve something besides what's between the legs. They deserve love, the honor, a safe space where they can actually be a man and talk about their feelings. Because at the end of the day, life is hard. But when you choose somebody, when they choose somebody to go through it with them, you need to be able to honor them, you know, respect them and understand everybody got a day. Everybody got a mad day. I had one today, you know. I was ready to turn the bus over, but couldn't do it, you know. But I just think that we need to get out of this give and take situation and start really understanding that men have feelings. They're not robots. They're not just ATMs. They're not just punching bags, you know. We really need to start understanding who we're dealing with. And I think once we start doing that, we can actually have a better communication with our men and start bringing our kids back in the house. You know, that's my other ultimate goal is get our kids back in the house, raise them, show them love, so that when they go out there, they're not accepting any type of love.
That's good. Dwayne, on you.
Man, you can find me at DwayneJonesPhotography.com or Monday nights at right here on HD's podcast. Takeaway for tonight: we all need a good mate in our life. Can you hit us with that acronym again, Mr. Sir Hale?
Yes, MAID stands for mannerable, A stands for agreeable, I stands for intelligent, and D stands for delightful.
Come on now. Come on. I appreciate that one. Add that one to my list. I'm kidding. All right.
That's what's up on you, Prototype.
Man, my takeaway for tonight, don't pay attention to these women's lists, man. They break all the rules if they like it. Man, you can find me at Prototype Kingdom now, man. Prototype Kingdom podcast over Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. Find me on Humble Dad, man, and we got a whole crew of guys over there at Prototype Kingdom. So come check us out, man, and see what we got to say.
Y'all have the women as well, right? Is it all women or is
it's women on Wednesday nights? Yeah, it's all women.
Women on Wednesday nights. All right, bet. Tamia, on you.
Okay, so my takeaway was actually the MAID acronym. To be mindful of that as well. Because I am a wife, but I think that was so like awesome to hear, especially like the mannerable part where you can hear your husband even despite his delivery, because that was a big thing for me. Like if it's not being delivered in a certain type of way, as you can tell, I look like I can be a crybaby, right? So just, learning to be more mannerable. I think I'm doing great. I think I'm improving, but MAID is awesome. I think I'm going to write it on my mirror. Also to be flexible. Flexibility is so important. To understand that you have to make wiggle room. There has to be some compromise. If you are ladies, if you've met your husband, then you need to make room. You need to make room, and it's going to take a shift. Like it's not ever going to just be 100%. This is what I want, because you're not giving that to him. So he's wiggling in some way for us as well. So definitely be flexible, make wiggle room. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the Coach Mia. You can find me on YouTube at Tamia Lester. Have a good night.
That's what's up on you, Lost in Translation.
Thank you, Humble Dad. Once again, it has truly been a pleasure. I want to thank you for having me once again. Thank you to the chat and to the panel as well. I run my list a little bit differently, man. And Sir Hale is actually on one of my lists, and it is to actually check on him at least once a week. You know what I mean? Because us brothers, we have to make sure we okay from time to time. Even if I don't hear from him, hey brother, you all right? You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. You got to check on the folks that's important to you. You know what I mean? At least once a week, I want to talk to my mom. I want to hear her voice. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear what's going on. Those people who are important to me, I make sure I check on them on a regular basis. Make sure they don't need anything. Sometimes they just may need a word of encouragement or to know that somebody's thinking about them. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the only list I'm concerned about is when God calls me home and he looks at what I've done and say, you know what, well done, thou good and faithful servant. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm worried about. That's the major list that I'm looking forward to at the end of the day and at the end of my life. But one of the things you can do is you can find me on Sunday on Sir Hale Speaks Super Sunday. You know, he let me borrow it down here at my house. You know what I'm saying? It's like both our show. I just keep it down in my house like Debo. You know what I'm saying? Also, you can find me here on Monday at our Humble Dad's channel as well. And on Tuesday on Black Men Unfiltered Talk Tuesday. And from time to time on Thursday. And on Friday on Black Men Unfiltered's channel. as the barbershop. So, and also on Friday nights on my channel, Lost in Translation podcast. So I'm basically working every day, man, trying to make everybody's day a little bit better and answer some of the questions, and sometimes just to be an ear for somebody else. And that's it. That's all I got for today. That's what I took from it, man. Make sure your list count every day.
That's what's up. Last but not least, Uncle Rick.
Oh, my take. Shout out to the people in the chat. Shout out to the replay gang. Make sure y'all like this video, share the video, all that good stuff. What I took today is that I took from the day Sir Hell will be the new leader of the new CMB. You know what I'm saying? Look like you ready to smack a pretty motherfucker. But no, man. Hey, whatever you got to do to get where you got to get. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, as long as you're not hurting somebody. So, like to me, it says she has to do a list to get her stuff accomplished in a productive way. Hey, so be it. You know what I mean? But don't be so rigid that a list can't be modified. But when it comes to this relationship thing with these lists and going on, maybe if people figured out what love is, they could find it. Maybe if you figured out what it really is, you could find it. You out here looking for something and you don't know what it is. I don't see how you just expect to walk into that. All right. So where we at? So I'm back active. I'm gonna be here on Monday. Shout out to my boy HD for dealing with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing book club over at my channel. It's just Ricky Williams # TWT. Tomorrow night I will be reading. It's the third part of reading the black man's guide to understanding the black woman. We reading that over at my channel. Friday night starting this November the 3rd. We going back to Friday nights. That's over at Twitch at RDubs. That's at AREDUBBZ. And that's Feel Good Fridays, where we rock out to some old music and talk about music, how it started, who originated, who wrote what songs. Just getting rolling into the Fridays, getting a little cocktail going and some fuzzy slivers, whatever you into. Make sure you have a pair of headphones, because Twitch has really good quality music of audio. So if you have a pair of headphones or good speakers, it makes a world of difference. And plus, they don't censor anything when it comes to music. So that's what we're doing on Fridays. And as usual, take care of yourself first. Without you, none of this stuff happens, right? Once you do that, take care of your family, because who's going to feed you your Jello when you get older? And I keep telling y'all, I like Jello, right? And I guarantee y'all, 99.9% of the rest of that stuff will take care of itself. It's your boy. Y'all have a great night.
Hey, it's been a wonderful night, man. I really appreciate y'all time, energy, and perspective. My takeaway is that I'm always trying to learn from you guys. And the thing that I learned tonight was that regardless of your perspective, you need to make sure that you can stand on it. You know what I'm saying? When someone is maybe against your perspective or don't see it the way you see it, as long as you know how to present yourself in a manner, don't be disrespectful, as well as don't feel intimidated or feel bad for you having your own perspective. And as always, I got the best show on the planet. That's how I see it, and that's how I feel about it. And that's how I'm going to continue to rock with it. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see them about the impact of the world.